This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. So just like you, he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next-day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's KFI AM 640, and you're listening to The Conway Show on demand on the iHeartRadio app. KFI AM 640, it's Conway Show. Before we get to Alex Stone, we've got an emergency going on at Knott's Berry Farm. Ride is stuck. Kids are trapped. Let's go to 7 or 5 here. See what's going on.
Politely declined any assistance. As I mentioned, there is a battalion chief on the scene down there just monitoring the situation, but they must feel fairly confident that they can get this ride moving without any, major incident. It's the unexpected that I start to worry about as time goes on and the hours start to grow. Again, we're already in hour number 2 of this incident.
Wow.
And,
2 hours. 2
as
hours.
time goes on here and the sun starts to go down, you can imagine that this might become slightly more scary.
This may be a tough question to answer, Chris, but do you know if there is a point where the
if the
battalion
Churros
chief
guy
does
is
say,
still
okay,
working?
We've gone long enough. I'm going to take this thing over?
One would imagine that that determination will be made cooperatively between the fire department and the
2 hours upside down.
This is private property, but of course they are working in unison with local and state laws, as a matter of fact, which regulate.
I wonder if they're going to blame the tons of fun that got on.
Imagine that if they feel the need to begin an actual rescue operation, for example, that there'll be units and resources ready when that time
2
comes.
hours into this, and they don't have a bag below them in case somebody falls?
I have a feeling they feel optimistic. Again, it's more of the unexpected that you start to think about the more you
turn on channel 2. I'm sorry, channel 5 or channel 7, and you can see these poor kids. I imagine kids, teens, early 20s. That's not a ride for 70-year-olds. I'll tell you that. If you're 70, you're on that. That's on you.
They are fairly, expertly.
Yeah, you made that choice. That's an 18-year-old ride. It's one where it spins around, it goes upside down, it goes very fast, and there's a lot of throwing up if you're north of 40. And it's jammed.
To somebody on the ground.
It's right near the big tower, the big white tower, the big drop.
And they may start taking some of the riders closest to the ground off at some point. You would imagine at some point, if this drags on.
I love that ride too.
Oh, you've been on? Is that Montezuma's Revenge?
No, it's this other ride that Montezuma's might be right next to it, but this ride is that, I don't know, it looks like a fan or something.
Yeah.
And you sit in there and it kind of spins around and turns around and everything. It's great.
There's a ride next to that. It's a gravity thing where it spins around and it pins you to the wall.
Oh, yeah.
And this poor young girl, I don't know how old she was, 15, 16. They tried to close the seatbelt once, then twice, then a third time. And it didn't close because she was heavy. And then she had to make the walk off the ride in front of everybody. I felt horrible for her.
Yeah.
It's just the worst. But this ride is, they've got 3 or 4 ladders up there in the wrong place. If you don't mind me observing, the ladders are nowhere near the people that are stranded. And these people have been stranded for 2 hours, sitting on this ride, probably, 50 to the top one is probably 75, maybe 100 feet off the ground. And they can't get this ride moving again. And doesn't seem like a lot of urgency on the ground.
That's the Soul Spin, is that ride.
That's what it is? Soul Spin?
Soul Spin.
Oh, the Soul Spin. All right. Well, the soul is not spinning. It's just stationary. It's the Soul Stationary today. But it's upside down. Bad vibes. Bad vibes. And these poor kids. Now, I don't see anybody around it. They must have cordoned off the entire area just in case, kids start falling off that thing. You don't want the other kids to see that. But it doesn't look like, it looks like the whole area is cordoned off. There's no guests around. There's no other fellow travelers around or family members around. Where are all the family members of this crew? Or these kids that just go by themselves and their families are at home watching this? Right. That's possible. But, I guarantee you there is a guy or a gal on the phone right now to mom or dad saying, hey, I'm on TV. Turn on 5. Turn on 7. That's me.
Yeah. That would be my move. Hey, look, I'll wave. Look right now. That's me.
The real tough seats are the one where you're sitting at an angle, like, where you're perpendicular to the ground or parallel to the ground. And and you're sitting straight up. Or straight, it's coming. You're down on your left hip or your right hip, and all that pressure on your hip.
Yeah, that's what I keep thinking.
But these other guys got it made. Those other guys are just sitting there like they're waiting for a bus. There's no problem there. But anyway, all right. So the ride at Knott's Berry Farm, we'll keep an eye on this. But so far, 2 hours in the air with these people. 2 hours. All right, Alex Stone. Sorry, buddy. Is Alex with us?
This looks amazing. It'd be great to be on that ride. And you're thinking, I'm going to get a lifetime pass now to Knott's Berry Farm?
Yeah. Now, let me ask you a question. If you're on that ride for 2 hours, do you ever go back on it?
Sure.
Really? Is that right?
And I want to know what the workers are doing down there, like ratcheting down ropes right now. Is that
I know.
So it doesn't start spinning on its own?
Yeah, it does look like they're trying to support it with these big wires.
Yeah, I think I'd rather like Lights On in Haunted Mansion down at Disneyland or Pirates of the Caribbean where you get to walk out through like all the sets and stuff.
Oh,
that'd be
great.
cooler. But this would be all right. This wouldn't be too bad.
This is going to, it's going to be dark here in 20 minutes or so. And then it's going to get cold.
It will get a little chilly.
And I don't know what you do with these kids, but man, oh man, what
there's some like 50-year-old on there who's like, oh
I know, yeah,
no, he's stuck with everybody else.
He had kids late in life, and he's got to prove that he's still active, and so he's on this stupid thing with the kids. Yeah, and he hates it. He regrets it. He's turning on the kids now too. I shouldn't have had you. Why did I have you? I hate you. I hate your mom.
Just about to leave, and you said one more ride.
Yeah. By the way, your mom would be spinning in her grave if she saw us up here, and they're like, "Well, mom's not dead." Well, she's dead inside. I don't want to go into it, but I'm just not into it. That's going on that ride right now.
Sure.
That's going on. All right. So let's get to business here. Or can you hang with us?
Yeah.
Can you?
You want.
Okay. All right. Let's hang on for a second. We're going to keep an eye on the ride here at Knott's Berry Farm. When we come back, Alex Stone is with us, and we'll talk about Spirit Airlines, an airlines that was designed and for the broke is going broke. Not a mystery. We're live on KFI AM 640. The ride at Knott's is the big story here in Southern California, especially Orange County. A lot of kids suspended in midair. They've been there for 2 hours. There's no sign that they're closer to being off that ride than when they got on. None.
You're listening to Tim Conway Jr. on demand from KFI AM 640.
It's Conway Show. We're keeping an eye on the ride there at Knott's Berry Farm. There are 22 people stuck on it. It's called Soul Spin, and it's not spinning, and there's 22 souls on it. And they're still stuck. They've been there for 2 hours, a little over 2 hours, 2 hours and 20 minutes. And there's really doesn't seem like a lot of urgency, which I think is odd. I love Knott's, but I don't like the lack of urgency there. Soul Spin. People are trapped. All right, Alex Stone is with us. Alex, what's going on with Spirit Airlines? And isn't that the airline that really sort of designed and catered to the broke?
Yeah, well, at least those who don't want to pay very much. Yeah,
right.
So coming out of the pandemic, the customer preference for whatever reason has changed where going into the pandemic, people were like, give me the cheapest airfare you can give me and I'm good to go. I'll get on a bus. I don't care if I'm squeezed in there. And there's been a big switch. The customers are willing to pay more to get more coming out of the pandemic. And instead of, $15 to get on and squeezed into a seat with your knees up against the seat in front of you and pay for a seat assignment, pay if you want to put a bag in the overhead compartment, pay for a cup of water, that there is an appetite now to pay for premium economy, for first class, for airport clubs, for food, to be treated well. That's why Southwest made the move that is controversial among those who fly Southwest, that they're adding in the premium class, the extra legroom up front, that they're going to begin assigning seats, that they aren't going to be the Southwest that they've always been because the low and the ultra-low cost model is no longer in favor right now. Spirit has tried, that they have tried to bundle it to be more like every other airline, and they've got their bigger front seats up front and bundle that with priority boarding and with free bags and internet and snacks and drinks so they can say, we're just like United, we're just like Delta, but it didn't work. And then the bigger airlines are now offering their super cheap fares below economy where you don't get miles, you sit in the back, you board last, you don't get an overhead bag, only the seat in front of you.
You got to bring your own seatbelt, too. I don't know if you know that.
Essentially, yes. Yeah. Just connect it up as you get in. And so they took away the model that Spirit had been doing and Frontier by saying, hey, you can go on United, you can go on Delta, you're going to sit in the back and no room for any bags, but come on here and you can go on a bigger airline. So didn't really work for them. Mix that with Spirit has had to ground a bunch of its Airbus aircraft because they have a problem with the Pratt & Whitney engines.
Oh, no.
That they haven't been able to, not just them, but Airbus in general.
Yeah, engines are a big deal.
They do help out a little bit. You got a little problem without both of them working correctly. And then they had the failed merger with JetBlue that looked like it was going to go through and save them, or they would become part of JetBlue, and the DOJ blocked it, and then the DOJ won in court. So all of that, Spirit has lost over $2.5 billion since 2020. They have looming debt payments of $1 billion over the next 2 years that they got to pay. So they had to do it today. And this is something that a lot of the airlines have done. All of the big ones did it in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Right, it didn't really affect them. So it's not going to affect Spirit then, huh?
Well, this is a little bit different. This is not 1999. This is not the early 2000s. They've got different headwinds that they've got to deal with. But they say for now that they are going to run normally, that you can book, you can use frequent flyer miles. You're not going to notice any difference in the air. Long term, they got to figure it out. How are they going to make money? They are primed for the picking right now for another airline to come in and get them under a Trump DOJ. Would probably go through. Maybe JetBlue will try again. Somebody else may come in and say, hey, they've got a young Airbus fleet. We want your planes.
Right, but if you had a Spirit Airline ticket for a Thanksgiving or Christmas, would you panic?
You're fine.
Okay.
No, you're totally good. They've got to stay to the FAA regulations. They do have young Airbus aircraft that run fine. You're good. Their stock did take a major dip on Friday.
Really?
With signs that this was going to go on. And then they've dropped their stock 97% since 2018 when they were last making money.
You know what you never hear on Spirit? Ladies and gentlemen, is there a doctor on board? Never hear that.
They went, there's not a doctor.
No, I think they settle for nurse or nurse in training or somebody
on United.
Or somebody who watched Emergency back in the 70s.
Anybody watch Chicago 911 last night? Anybody?
Here's another thing you never hear on Spirit. Hey, does that guy over there pitch for the Dodgers?
That would be true.
Never hear
Even
it.
On Southwest, you don't hear that very often, and they're a totally different category. But yeah, the thing that also, you just look at their numbers. People are still flying Spirit. Their numbers are up 2% this year, but their airfares are down 20%. So to get people to go on Spirit, they've had to bring their airfares down 20%. Long term, that's not sustainable. It's not working for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think people understand now that, you save up to travel and, you try not to take a Greyhound. You know what? But when you live in the Valencia sort of area, okay, well, you've seen this. You've seen the signs, back in the 80s and 90s on your way back to Valencia. You would see signs on apartment buildings along the 405 saying, 495 moves you in. You'd be home right now if you lived here. But the big sign that says $495 moves you in. There's a big apartment that says $495 moves you in. That's not that whole sign. It should say $495 moves you in, ... and the sheriff moves you out. That's the crew that's hanging out there. But so what I'm saying is you can go too cheap and it destroys your vacation.
Yeah, and I mean, they, like every airline, they've had their meltdowns as well and had trouble to get back on track. And, there are people who fly them and say, great, especially if you get that big front seat. But
they used to call it like the big-ass front seat or something like that.
Yeah, they're supposed to be very comfortable and big, and the people enjoy them. But as a mass, people are saying they'll go on Delta or go on United or Southwest, where they have a bigger route network. You can choose more flights. You have more options. You can go to Hawaii, go wherever you want. So,
hey, is it true also that they suffered a little bit because you had to be, in order to get on Spirit Airlines, you had to be anti-vax? Is that true?
That might have hurt them at one time. Yeah, maybe.
That's too bad. I hate to see airlines that look like taxi cabs, fly out of business. That's too bad.
By the way, totally different topic. Did you see the breaking news a moment ago? The governor's office just sent us no clemency for the Menendez brothers.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, he says that I'll read you his statement that they just sent us.
Oh, my God. Wait, this is breaking news. Bellio, do we have the breaking? All right, do we have the breaking news sounder? This is breaking news. A lot of people want the Menendez out of prison, and we have breaking news with Alex Stone. Breaking news. ABC News.
No, ours goes dun 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 dun.
Oh yeah.
We're not NBC. Come on now.
I used to love that.
Exactly right.
With Peter Jennings, right?
Typically, I do.
Yeah.
So the governor's office just sent us. It says the governor respects the role of the district attorney in ensuring justice is served. Recognizes that voters have entrusted DA-elect Hochman to carry out this responsibility. The governor will be deferring to the DA-elect's review and analysis of the Menendez case prior to making any clemency decision. So not shutting the door, but saying it's going to be up to Hochman to decide what to do. And I told you last week we sat down with him, and his guys just sent us another statement saying the same thing, that he says he's got to review it. He doesn't know what he's going to do. He will see confidential files when he gets in on December 2nd that he doesn't have access to right now.
They're going to kill again.
There is, what was that, if they come out?
Yes. Yeah. And they're going to kill me and John Colbell. Hey, here's some more breaking news.
Yeah.
We have that breaking news sounder again, Steffush. More breaking news here. Wow, 2 breaking news stories in one segment.
This is huge.
The Soul Spin has landed. Soul Spin has landed. Yes.
Oh, I see it now on my monitors here, and the kids are getting off right now.
That's right. They brought this crew in who knew what they were doing with these big wires. They pulled that sucker down. Now they got to all get off before it, like a catapult, it launches them all back into Disneyland.
This guy getting off right now looks really sore. Like he just got out of a 10-hour drive where you're driving to New Mexico and you get out and you're walking a little funny. This guy's walking.
That's right.
A little funny right now.
Or that guy's in radio. But also I'd look at the big guys and gals that went on, that maybe that's the reason these souls stopped spinning. Well, that's possible, Yeah. I mean, look, 75% of this country is huge. We lead the world in obesity. Well, that's not true. There's some small countries in the Pacific Southwest who blow us away. But other than that, we are the biggest and fattest country in the world. We just eat. We love eating.
They need to put a few more bolts on that thing then.
That's right.
Make sure it's good to go.
That's right. Buddy, I really appreciate coming on. 2 breaking news stories. I really appreciate that, man.
All right.
All right, there he goes. Alex Stone with ABC News. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, bum, bum. Peter Jennings. That was great when Peter Jennings would come on, man. That guy was the best. All right, the Soul Spinner has stopped spinning, and people are now off. There's only one lady or one guy who requested a wheelchair. And I can understand that. You're upside down for 2.5 hours. Your body's not used to that. So code 4 at Knott's. They're going to take a look at this ride, find out what happened. But it did what it's supposed to do. It was supposed to stop whenever it's in trouble and not put these people's lives at risk by keep spinning.
They're released.
Yep, they're gone.
They're released.
Everybody's gone. Now, Bellio, I saw a guy that looked like John and another young lady and 2 kids. Would it freak you out if your husband had another family?
Yeah.
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 God, it looked like John.
That is John.
It is John. And with a woman and 2 kids. Oh, my God.
Wow. She was going to say not again.
Not again. The guy in the Michigan shirt?
With the Michigan shirt and with the blonde, with the younger looking blonde.
I mean, she is cute. She's very cute.
Don't blame her.
Yeah.
God, those kids look like John.
They do look a lot like John.
They really do. They both have mammoth windbreakers on.
Those are John's mammoth windbreakers.
Oh, my God. See, this is the downside of the soul spinner. It could also lead your life to spin around.
Aside from the one person being wheeled away in a chair, the guy behind her, he's limping pretty heavy too. It's like, how much do you exaggerate being? Oh
yeah. No, they're all. I mean, I don't know if you saw this on a wide shot there. There's a shuttle bus there that said Sweet James on it. They're all jumping on the shuttle bus down to Newport. All right, we're live on KFI AM 640. That is over at Knott. Emergency over, and no clemency for the Menendai kids. So 2 big stories here in one segment. That's huge.
You're listening to Tim Conway Jr. on demand from KFI AM 640.
Oh, man. What about that Alex Stone? That guy's great. Well, we've got the kids down on Knott's Berry Farm. They're all going to be fine. And Soul Spin is now going to be down for a little bit. So if you had plans on flying down there and hitting the Soul Spin, it's going to be out for a while, just a little bit. But we'll be back. Knott's will be back. Knott's is a great park. We used to go down there and do remotes there all the time. And, man, they treated us like royalty down there. I enjoyed that. And Knott's used to be filthy when I was a kid growing up. And then Cedar Point took it over. And Cedar Point owns a lot of amusement parks. They own a big one in Sandusky, Ohio. And if you're listening from Ohio, if you're from Ohio, you know where Cedar Point is, outside Toledo, between Toledo and Cleveland. And that's one of the premier parks in all of the world. And if you live in the Midwest, that was your summer big trip. If your mom and dad had the money to go to Cedar Point and spend the day at Cedar Point, that was the big trip. I remember going there once with my dad. We got there, tornado warnings, hurricane warnings, earthquake warnings, plague warnings. It was everything happening the same day. We were there for an hour and we had to split. But Geauga Lake was our park growing up outside of Cleveland, Ohio. That was the move. But anyway, so since Cedar Point took over Knott's Berry Farm, it's become a very clean park and very safe park, with the exception of that ride today. And it's a cool hang, and it's very inexpensive compared to the other parks. Very inexpensive compared to Universal. Well, that's not true. Universal's pretty inexpensive too, but there are some parks that are pricey.
Knott's is my favorite by far.
Yeah, Knott's is great because, there's something for everybody there. The young kids have the fast rides. The older kids have the memories or the older people have memories.
Yeah, it definitely does have the faster rides for the kids too. And it just the vibe that it has, just walking through the whole place is just a more cozy, kind of comfy.
I'm with you.
It's not,
I like it.
It's not so sort of plasticky.
Yeah, I like it. And you feel like if you misbehave at Disneyland, they'll arrest you. You're feeling like if you misbehave at Knott's, they'll be like, please don't do that anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Don't. Please.
A little more understanding. And you and I need that, because we're guys on the edge.
We don't need somebody to come to you. Oh, now we got to get in that place.
That's right. I remember we were at Knott's Berry Farm and we were doing a remote, and they were very nice to give us a hotel room. This is 23 years ago. Oh. And they gave us a hotel room. And my dopey friend, Malibu Dan, came by. And he said, buddy, do you mind if I smoke out in your room? I'm like, you're not really supposed to. I mean, it says don't smoke in the room, $250 fine, the whole thing. And that's when pot was still arrestable offense. Oh. If you smoke, you get arrested for it. I said, please don't. And so I went to the bathroom to get ready to go, and I come out, and he's, both feet are in this bong. He's hitting it hard. And literally 10 minutes later, 2 security guys who I thought were cops knock on the door. And I'm like, hello? And I open it just a crack, and, smoke hits him in the face. Right. Yeah. And Malibu, he's in the back, he's like an Electrolux in the back. And they said, we smell pot, and we think it's coming from your hotel room. I said, it's not mine. I said, I don't know where it's coming from.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Not here, buddy. Deny, deny, deny. Kids, if you're listening, that is the key to life. When you get in trouble, I didn't do it. Deny.
We have
deny,
video
deny.
right here of you doing it.
That's somebody else.
We had people that saw you and named you specifically.
Those people hate me. They have a vengeance against me. They want me to to lose my job. I know these people.
Fingerprints.
Yes.
We have fingerprints of you at the scene.
Those fingerprints. I stayed here 2 months ago. Those fingerprints could have been from 2 months ago. Get out of here. I didn't do anything wrong. I want to get out of here. All right. We've got the kids at Knott's have been released. So that's great news. When we come back, we're at 5 o'clock, we're going to have Rich Morana on and talk about the fight. I think he's already in the 5th round. He's buffered, and he's in the 5th round. And then there was a man that was nearly crushed to death by boulders. He's coming on at 6 o'clock. His name is Joe. He's been in the hospital, Loma Linda, for a month. He's going to be there for another month. And it was big news here in Southern California. Just driving along Highway 18 or 330 up in the mountains, and 2 boulders, 30 tons each, come smashing down on his van, nearly killed him.
Oh.
And I talked to him yesterday in the hospital. I'll tell you why I called him. There's a reason I called him. We're live on K. We'll go back. I'll tell you that reason.
You're listening to Tim Conway Jr. on demand from KFI AM 640.
Hey, we got a guy coming on at 6 o'clock. His name is Joe. What's his last name? Joe Furtek. Joe Furtek. Sounds like a radio reporter. Joe Furtek, KFI. He was on Highway 18 or 330, one of those crazy highways up in the mountains, with his brand new van. He just got 2 days, 2 days before the accident, and a boulder, 2 boulders, 18 tons of rock fall and nearly kill him. They wanted to amputate his leg at the scene of the crime. Then they wanted to amputate at the hospital. He said no. And he saved his leg, but he's been in the hospital for 30 days. He's going to be there for another 30 days. And he's coming on with us at 6. And I called him yesterday, and Bellio said, "Oh, that was so sweet of you." Because I've never met the guy. And I said, "Well," she goes, "Let me guess. It has something to do with gambling." I said, a little bit. I lost 5 straight races at Del Mar. And I thought if I find his sister's email and then call him at the hospital, maybe my luck would turn around.
Wow.
So I called him, talked to him for like 10 minutes. I have no idea what he said. I was looking at the racing form. And I lost the next 3 races. Wiped out. Not even close. And I'm like, well, why would I make the call? Didn't help.
Because the gambling gods are onto you.
I think so.
They are so onto you.
Yeah, I think you're right. Got to fix that somehow. But I had, I was very close. I was 2 horses away from a package. I almost got a big payday, and I couldn't, even with the call to the hospital. Got nothing going. I even bought food for the Burbank Temporary Aid Center, and that didn't help either. And Jen's like, my wife's like, that's not how handicapping works. You don't do a good deed and then just go to the track and collect. I'm like, well, it does sometimes work that way.
How often has that ever worked for you?
It worked a couple weeks ago that way. I went to the charity on Magnolia and Buena Vista, and I donated a bunch of stuff that we didn't need anyway. And I wanted a daily double to hit pretty nice score. So it does work sometimes. Not often, but when it does, it all comes together real nicely.
Surprised we didn't hear about it.
Oh yeah, that was a big score. Not big. I got my money back for the day.
Hey, little wins.
All right, we have the Knott's Summer Soul Spin. The kids are off, and they're on to other rides now. I don't know. You think they go on to other rides, or they go home and they count their blessings? I don't know. Do they get a free ticket for another day? I bet they do. Do they get a free meal? You bet. Yeah, the Knott's Chicken Cafe loaded now with guys with interesting gaits, because they've been held in suspension in the air for 2.5 hours. So they all have interesting gaits, interesting walks. They're all walking like they're 95 years old, and they're filling up that chicken cafe, that chicken restaurant at Knott's. All right, let's find out what's going on, how these lads and lasses got off this ride.
2 hours, 22 passengers.
Oh, that's my fault, Steffush. Let me crank up the volume here. Hold on. Wait a minute. Let me put some boom in it.
2 hours, 22 passengers stuck on this ride in a horizontal position. And just seconds ago, we've got video as the shoulder harnesses were released and a flurry of guests immediately got up from those seats after being in a very uncomfortable position.
Wow.
Again, for a couple of hours, several of them appeared to be in some distress. Lots of folks hobbling off the ride.
Yes, hobbling is a good term. Hobbling. Because they're a mess. You know, they had no blood getting to their legs for 2.5 hours.
One woman appears to be unable to get up. She is now in a wheelchair.
Unable.
And there are other folks who have literally...
That's what Sully Sullenberg said when they said, can you get to Teterboro? You know, he's the guy that landed that plane in the Hudson for U.S. Airways. And they said, can you get to Teterboro? We'll open up any runway you want at Teterboro. And his response, unable. And this is what this lady's response was. Unable.
The ride. One woman appears to be unable to get up.
Unable to get up. She is now in a wheelchair. And there are other folks who have literally limped away. And you can understand why, especially if their legs and hips were dangling for so long, depending on which end of those spokes you... Why'd you dump that? He said hips.
Oh.
We don't have to dump that. You have to dump hips.
Especially if their legs and hips were dangling.
Yeah, hips.
Hips were dangling.
Hips were dangling. Oh, I see why you dumped it. I see. But he said hips. Hips were dangling.
Hips were dangling.
Yeah. We can play that all day and not get in any trouble at all.
Hips were dangling for so long, depending on which end.
We could play that part of it too.
Hips were dangling for so long.
Yeah. No problem there. We're clean.
Depending on which end of those spokes you were in, it could have been an extremely uncomfortable and dangerous situation, as a matter of fact. But even though it appears that everybody's okay, certainly many of these folks may have to get checked out, and obviously a major investigation will be conducted into what caused this ride malfunction. But fortunately, we can say that everybody has now exited the ride after a 2-hour ordeal, bringing Fiesta Village to a halt.
Yeah, Fiesta Village. No buenos.
Here at Knott's Berry Farm. Reporting live from Air 7, I'm Chris Christie, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Fiesta Village. That's where Montezuma's Revenge is. Soul Spin. That's a cool area.
Hips were dangling for so long.
Yeah, hips were dangling. So long. All right, that's over. Thank God everybody made it. Everybody made it off. We'll see if they're in good shape. Hopefully they are. And don't forget, this Friday, we have a remote in Orange County.
What?
Yes. It's our last remote until we do another one a week later in Orange County at the White House. So it's going to be at Wendy's at the restaurant in Mission Viejo, 23022. Alicia Parkway, 23022. Croge, I think you're going, aren't you?
I hope
trying to get
so.
you down there?
I didn't even know about this until about an hour or so ago. When,
is that right?
Yeah, Sharon told me. I was like, really?
Steffush, what's your plan? You plan on buzzing down there?
I'd love to.
Can you?
I don't know if I can.
Want to see you get those nuggets in you know?
Nuggets, burgers.
Yeah.
Frosty.
Oh, man. I don't know. I think you said 40 nuggets you could do?
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
Wow. I envy that. Angel, you coming down?
Oh, you know
it. You know it. Yeah, never miss it with the nuggets and the chili. Love it. Bellio, you're going to come down, right? Because it's like 8 minutes from your house.
Yeah, I think I could make it.
Yeah. What about Richie? Richie, you going to come down or you going to do remote?
I will definitely be there.
You will?
Yeah.
Yeah. I noticed you're coming in a lot lately.
Oh. You know?
Yeah. All right, ding dong with all of you. We got two great guests coming up. You're going to love both of them. We're going to recap the fight when we come back with Rich Marotta. Isn't that his name? Yeah, Rich Marotta at 5:05. And then the guy almost got killed with a boulder at 6:05. Man, almost too much show. We're live on KFI AM 640. Conway Show on demand on the iHeartRadio app. Now, you can always hear us live on KFI AM 640, 4 to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, and anytime on demand on the iHeartRadio app.